Let's call this meeting to order. It is 6 o'clock, and we're going to have straight go forward to roll call, please. 6 o'clock. What was that? 6 o'clock, yes.
Present.
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 Present. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go ahead and all stand and for Pledge of Allegiance. If you follow me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, but I think we're going to approval of the agenda. Wow, okay, thank you, Vice Chair.
Think you're supposed to do the procedures first? Whatever's in order,
I'm
procedures?
sorry.
Reading the procedures. Yeah, you.
Yeah, yes, thank you. This meeting is being conducted in person and electronically. The public may participate in the meeting by using the Zoom link provided on the agenda. Please note that all virtual participants will be on a mute until they are called upon by the chair, at which point they will be unmuted. If you are a member of the public and would like to comment on an item, use the raise hand function on Zoom. To avoid confusion, please wait for the item you desire to comment on to be called by the chair before electronically raising your hand. For each matter considered by the commission, the first will be a staff presentation, followed by a presentation from the mobile home park owner applying for a rent increase, then a presentation for a representative of the mobile parks resident committee. Testimony from supporters of the application will be taken, followed by testimony from those in opposition. The mobile home park owner and residents committee representative will each have the right to final rebuttal presentation prior to the closing of the public hearing. Pursuant to Article 4, Section 4D of the Commission bylaws available at the city clerk, governing length of debate and all public testimony from those in support of the position or in imposition of the rent increase application will be limited to 3 minutes. The 3 lights on the podium next to the microphone will indicate the amount of time remaining for the speaker. The green light will be turned on when the speaker begins. The yellow light will come on with a soft bell ring when 1 minute is remaining. The speaker should be completing the testimony by the time the red light comes on with a final bell indicating time has expired. All public testimony must be presented to the commission at the podium. Any testimony that references race, religion, ethnicity, economic status, national origin, and any other classification protected under the state and federal law in a derogatory manner shall be deemed irrelevant and will not be considered by the commission in making its determinations. We will first start our meeting with the approval of the agenda. Does the staff have any changes to the agenda?
Yes, staff would like to pull item 9B, the Fresno Mobile Home and RV Parks rent increase application, and have that be postponed until either January 23rd or January 30th, depending on commissioner availability. between those two dates, is there a preference? Are there days when the commissioners are not available among those two?
All dates work for me.
The 30th would work better for me.
All dates work for me.
The 23rd, 24th?
23rd.
The 23rd will work for me.
You cannot make it on the
I
30th?
cannot.
Okay, would you be able to make it on the 23rd?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. Let's go with the 23rd. If you find that you are unable to, but you three are able to attend, we will have quorum. So we should be covered if something does come up. So we will schedule that for January 23rd. The notice will go out to park owner, rent committee chair, and the affected mobile home units. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any commissioners have any changes to the agenda? No? Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries.
The item has passed.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes. Will the secretary please take the vote? What would you? That's what you did, right? The vote now. Would the secretary please take the vote?
Yeah, we can do a roll call vote if you like.
Yeah, well, I was going to bypass that since we all say aye.
Commissioner McCullough?
Aye.
Commissioner Zuniga?
Aye.
Vice Chair Wilbur?
Aye.
Chair Moncada?
Aye.
The approval of the agenda as amended has passed per roll call vote.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go and move now to item ID 231729, approval of the regular meetings minutes of November 14 and the special meeting minutes of November 21st. Do the commission have any changes to those minutes? Nope. Great. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second that. Would the clerk please take a vote? The vote.
Commissioner McCullough?
Aye.
Commissioner Zuniga?
Aye.
Vice Chair Wilbur?
Aye.
Chair Moncada?
Aye.
The item has passed.
Thank you. Do we have any reports from any commissioner, including myself? I don't have, anybody else?
I have a question
Yes.
for the city attorney. I'm looking to, so based on some findings, there seems to be an opportunity to improve or to consider how we receive packet information. And so because this is off, this is not on the agenda, I wanted to understand what I can do in order to get an item rolling and where I would discuss that at.
Well, what you can do, you can agendize an item to discuss the city's ordinance itself, the bylaws, or whatever that you guys want to address if you guys want to discuss that in public. However, if you wanted to submit individual information, you could submit it to staff if there are any potential changes that you would like to make to the ordinance, the bylaws, whatever. Staff would consider those changes and then make a determination of how they're going to want to proceed forward on those.
Okay.
So there's a couple different ways in what you guys want to do. If you guys want to have an active discussion amongst all of you, then we can agendize an item for an upcoming meeting and you guys can discuss whatever changes that you would like to make and you can make that recommendation to staff. Although what I would like to state is that staff ultimately gets to make the call on making those changes.
Right.
So, but yes, depending on how you guys want to do it, an agenda item, or like I said, you guys could just provide those changes to staff, however you guys want to do them.
Okay, and when we have those discussions, is it something that has to be put on the agenda, or can we?
If you guys want to discuss it as a group of 4 people, then you guys it has to be an agendized item because we do not want to violate the Brown Act. So I recommend if you want it to be an active discussion, then an agendized item would be prepared.
Okay. And just to make sure I'm understanding correctly, I can sort of put together thoughts and provide it to the staff, and that can then be copied to the group, or how does that sort of work?
So if you have ideas that you want to share, what I would recommend is if you want to share them with the entire group, that should be done at a meeting.
Okay,
So that way we don't have any issues with the Brown Act.
okay,
So, and that's just making sure that everything's public, everything's open, so the public knows exactly what's going on.
okay,
So that's what I would recommend.
okay.
Sarah, did you have something you wanted to say? Yes, absolutely. So what we would do first would be say that you guys wanted to discuss an item. So what I would recommend would be that the chair tell staff that that he would like an item placed on the agenda for that you guys could discuss the bylaws, ordinance, and kind of proceed that way.
Okay.
That's what I would recommend.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the informational reports, we can comment on anything, announcements that we may have or what have you, is it not? Isn't that correct?
You can comment on information related to the
Agenda, but because I've been to city council procedures and I noticed that there was an opportunity to discuss any announcement that we want to make that is not actually on the agenda. How do they do that? And we can
generally what is allowed is that because the city council agenda is kind of wide and varied. What I would recommend would be that the reports or information be limited to what's within scope of the committee itself. So related generally to mobile home parks. Like I said, their maintenance, rent increases, market trends, stuff like that. I would limit to that as opposed to information outside of that scope. However, I can't stop you from speaking on whatever you would like to speak with, but that would be my recommendation.
Thank you.
So I would like to have you consider a future agenda item to discuss the opportunity to discuss about how we are receiving documents from applicants, and based on findings that staff has, there seems to be a large amount of documents that really do not really, there's nothing in those documents that we are looking at, and so I'd like to see if we can maybe have a discussion and put something on the agenda to talk about sort of the application process, yeah, and improving that.
So basically, you want to just get like a summary of what we're looking at and kind of like take down what the application, because I know I saw a lot of duplicate pages of things and that
Correct,
kind of,
yeah. I would have a more complete thought once we put that on the agenda, and I provide, but yeah, in this essence, having a place for us to discuss the opportunity to just talk about the application and how we can be better processing the applications through by making it a little easier for us to consume the information.
First of all, thank the staff for putting this up at least 3 days ago, I think it was up, right? At least I was able to download everything. I just check all the boxes and read everything, the application process. Not the application process, but the application of the item that we move for the 23rd. I'm a little confused, to be honest with you, on how when you give us an example, because I'm a little confused, because I know when I went online, I noticed, I was able to see the agenda, I was able to see the application, I was able to see all the items that I need to make an informed decision, come here and discuss that, and,
Yeah, so as I read through, and I was trying to find it right now, but as I read through some of the staff findings, or I forget the exact, I think it was called staff findings. Anyways, in there, essentially, the documents that were supplied by one of the applicants, or maybe, I forget the context. That's why I feel like I have to go back and just give a complete sort of thought to it. But some of the documentation that was submitted was really not, didn't have any bearing for us to sort of look through. And so what my thought is that we can look at the information that we're asking and make it a little bit easier for us to digest by having some little bit more guidelines on when you're submitting documents, it should be, and then we can discuss what that should be.
Is that one of the reasons why we move this matter to the 23rd? I noticed that the email that you sent, the staff sent, says something about you were missing some information, something did not get to be completed. Is that within the scope that we're speaking about?
So the reason why we needed to postpone the hearing that was originally scheduled for tonight is because there were some deficiencies in notice. One class of people, the individual units in the mobile home park, did not receive long enough advance notice of the hearing tonight to meet the requirements of the Fresno Municipal Code. So that's why we're moving it back to a minimum of 14 days, which is what we're going to hit, so that we can make sure they're properly noticed with enough time so that they can be present, can speak, and have their voices heard on the matter.
Is the staff responsible for notifying all these tenants, or is it the representative?
That would come from staff.
That would come from staff. Okay, all right. So how will we proceed with the idea that he has? How do we?
Well, as chair, you could decide that you want to place an item on a future agenda so that you guys could discuss the policies and procedures for submitting applications in the future, and then you could then have a discussion at a later date on how you want things amended or what your recommendations were, and then staff could follow up on that and then provide some guidance and suggestions on how they would potentially move things forward.
So we do these in a motion. Somebody wouldn't have to make a motion then
we don't. You don't need a motion. As the chair,
okay.
You have the ability to do that. So you're taking in the information from the other commissioner, and so you can just say that you would like an item on the agenda.
Okay,
This isn't an action item, so like I said, this is kind of still limited to the informational reports that we're going on. So there shouldn't really be too much back and forth, but like I said, if that's what you want to do after taking into what the other commissioner said, then you can request that staff place an item on the agenda.
Do I request that on the new business, or do we do it now? Do we have to wait into new business?
You could wait until your comments, and you could say that you're going to do that, and that would be fine. You could privately communicate with staff. You could email staff and let her know that that's what you would like. It's your choice how you want to proceed.
Are you? Do you end your comments, or do you have any?
Yes, I'm done with my comments.
Okay, so I'd like to go ahead and ask for that item to be placed on when can we get that on the agenda? Which meeting we're looking at? Can it be done on the 23rd? Is it too?
There is a
Otherwise, we're looking at February.
What I would recommend is that type of information is held at a normally regularly scheduled meeting.
Okay.
Because what will happen for the 23rd, that will be a special meeting. So that's going to be for the hearing itself. So I'd recommend at your next regular meeting in February, that's when that's when an item could be agendized. As long as that fits with the schedule, then you guys could discuss it at that time.
So be it.
Okay.
Would you take care of that? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Any other comments from commissioners? Okay, great. Since we move the item for the 23rd, the ID 2464, we're going to go to, do we have anyone, because there's no item to be discussed, so I'm assuming there's no one on public comment on the matter?
2464 is still on the agenda.
Correct.
So
Just need to start reading.
currently
Oh,
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
no informal reports on the agenda for this meeting. You do not have any commissioner reports or comments on the agenda for this meeting, which you guys just did. And we do not have any continued matters on the agenda for this meeting. So now we're on 24-64.
Thank you very much. So we're gonna, consideration of an adoption of an updated rent increase increase application schedule of mobile home parks. The staff will be doing a presentation. Thank you.
Are you able to pull up the attachments?
I am.
So the schedule, there's a rent application schedule for mobile home parks. And what this is basically in the Fresno Municipal Code ordinance, it says that each mobile home park owner must submit their application within the month designated to them by the commission. So when we inherited these files a couple years ago, we saw that there was a calendar in use for the 19 parks known to have residence committees at that time, but we couldn't, there was no evidence that it had been shown to a commission. The only one that staff was able to uncover that had been decided by the commission was one from 1988, which had 30 parks on it. Some of those parks have changed names but are still functioning. Basically, the situation that we found ourselves in was some parks have changed months since the calendar from 1988, and some of these parks that have since not had residence committees, we do not know what months they would have had. So
We don't know how to move the attachments to, because I wasn't informed of the presentation. I wasn't informed of the implementation, so we didn't create.
not a problem. I think we'll be fine without showing the calendar itself on the large screen. It's available in all of the attachments. So what was submitted as a proposed new schedule would be, in essence, the ratifying the 19 parks that for the past several years have had a month assigned to them. That is what they are used to and what they have been laboring under for the past several years, and providing a month even to parks that aren't known to have a residence committee, because one day they might. You can see we maintained what had been in practice in recent years, which was that the months were more front-loaded and June and July were kept empty, so that there were 2 months guaranteed. There should be nothing being processed so that everyone has an opportunity to have a break. Yes?
I noticed May 2 is also, nothing is going on May. No, this is the new schedule.
There is.
Okay, got it, thank you, yes. My mistake, my
No
apologies.
worries. Yeah, you'll see in those, the blue lines are the, I believe, 8 that at this time did not have a month assigned to them at all. So staff recommends that you approve the proposed schedule so that we make sure all of the parks in Fresno have a month assigned to them should a committee be formed. Thank you.
Very well, Nick, moving on, we're gonna take comments from people in the chambers. I don't see anyone in the chambers. How about remote public comment? Do we have anyone for this item? Publicly, on Zoom, any remote? People that want to,
That's what I'm trying to, yeah, the thing closed on me when I was trying to. I don't, at the time, I don't see anybody.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
so
I
let
do have there are no attendees on Zoom.
thank you. So let's move on to commissioners. I'd like to speak on this item. I have do you have any questions? No. I have a question. The ones in blue, like Fresno Mobile Home Park, or Green Acres, and all those, would they have a date eventually? Would they have a date that we're going to be assigned to them, a month or?
Yes, so the ones in blue, you'll see For instance, Blackstone North, that's the first one. And then on the right side, you'll see May is highlighted in blue. So that is the month that we propose it be assigned to them.
Okay.
So if they do eventually form a committee, they'll be ready to hit the ground running.
Very well, then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now let's move on to making a motion to approve the staff recommendation.
I'll make a motion to approve the staff recommendation of the proposed schedule for the annual rent increase applications.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Would the clerk check the vote, please?
Commissioner McCullough,
Aye.
Commissioner Zuniga,
Aye.
Vice Chair Wilbur,
Aye.
and Chair Moncada.
Aye.
The item has passed 4-0.
Okay, as we discussed earlier this evening when the agenda was amended and approved, the hearing for Fresno Mobile Home Park and an RV Parks rent increase application has been postponed and will be heard on January 23rd. Next on scheduled communication with a member. We don't have anyone in public here present. And any issue, anyone? But do anyone online?
No,
Okay, very
not
well
at this
then.
time. There's no one has their hand raised up.
Thank you, thank you. So I guess next step we move to adjournment. So I call this meeting to be adjourned.
At what time?
Thank you so much.
What time?
5:35. I'm sorry. No, it's sorry. 6:28.
6 what?
Yeah, 6:28.
28, okay.
Go back to the future, huh?
Thank you.